Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This is also recorded as a video, so I will upload this to Spotify as a video. Obviously, you can watch the video if you want. I'll also upload this on YouTube, so whatever, like if you're watching me, hello. And I would love, 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 love if you would drop me a comment and either send me a message on Instagram or message me, like send me put a comment in on YouTube or Spotify if you enjoyed this episode. I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to do this with notes. Like normally on my podcast, I just kind of go, whatever, and just kind of, do whatever. And kind of just have an idea and then I just go with it. But this one I wanted to be a bit more structured because it's something that I think a lot of people will get so much out of. So I wanted you to be able to have this episode and save it and be able to come back to it whenever you felt like needed. And for you to also understand that there's something wrong with you and that there's a massive link between ADHD and binge eating. So today we're going to talk about ADHD and binge eating and the not so surprising links that no one actually talks about. Because every single day I get messages in my DMs with girls who are like, oh my God, I had no idea that ADHD and binge eating were linked. Or, oh my God, like, is there a link between my ADHD and my binge eating? Like, I don't understand. Like, why can I not stop eating? Or why do I feel so impulsive? Or why am I binging? Or, or even girls who struggle with binge eating who are like, I think that I have ADHD, but I've never actually been tested. And the thing with ADHD is like, you don't actually, like ADHD is, the way I look at it is it's a collection, like it's a name for a lot of different symptoms. So for example, that you have a lower level of dopamine in your brain, that you are going to be more impulsive, that you do struggle to focus on certain things because on certain things you super focus, right? That you are a bit more fidgety. And all of these things do stem back from a dysregulation in your nervous system, but it also has some changes in your brain that comes from childhood. And a lot of that is related to trauma. And it doesn't even have to be big traumas. It can be like those small traumas where you felt like you weren't loved, you weren't safe, you didn't have the connection that you needed as a child, and you developed, like, this is why your brain developed in certain ways. So I'm really excited to talk. We're not going to talk about that today, but we're going to talk about the links between ADHD and binge eating because they are very much linked. So, welcome to the ADHD Girl Club. Who am I? So, if you've never listened to my podcast before, or if you're watching this on YouTube, my name is Ellen. I am a CBT practitioner and nervous system specialist. I am the #1 binge eating coach in Australia, and I do a lot of workshops and have a lot of referrals from other nutrition coaches who knows that their clients need help with binge eating, and I am the girl to do it. I've helped thousands of women all over the world manage their ADHD and stop binge eating. I have a program called The Empowered Woman, and I'm the podcast host of the Unfiltered Empowered Woman program. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm going to put all the links in the show notes so that you can just find me on all the different platforms very easily. But if you listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then you already have the links, or the link to my Instagram will be in the show notes as well. I do a lot of, like I said, a lot of international speaking gigs, so both online and in person, and I educate for Women's Fitness Education and Women's Fitness Academy, as well as Leadology. So I do a lot of speaking on this subtopic because it's something that I'm super passionate about, and more people should know about this stuff. Like, it makes me angry that we don't teach about this in school. I really think that we should. And as much as I would like to be able to help everyone for free, like, the end of the day, this is my job and I need to pay the bills. And also what I've found with the girls that I have given the program for free to, they don't get results because they don't commit. Like, if you're not investing in yourself, then you're not investing in the change. And if you're not investing in the change, you're not going to stick to it because it doesn't have any value to you. So this is why, if you're wondering, this is why the program can't be free. But this is why I like to put on a lot of free resources like podcasts and stuff like that, so that you can still get an understanding. You might not get all the way because free resources can only take you so far, but you can at least, start understanding yourself a bit better. Sorry, I just need to have a little bit of my coffee. So, wait, that's ADHD. Like, there's so many things that you do that you probably weren't even aware that this was actually ADHD. So, for example, hair twiddling, intrusive thoughts, hyperfixation, losing time, doom scrolling. Like, obviously, these symptoms, like these things that you do, doesn't have to mean that you have ADHD. But the way I look at it is like we all have a little bit of this in ourselves. Like some people, and also if you have ADHD, I'm sure you've experienced times in your life where your ADHD was crazy, like you felt like it was taking over your life. And you've also probably also had times in your life where it wasn't actually that bad and you didn't really notice it that much. And the reason for that has a lot to do with your nervous system. So if you're in a dysregulated state, if your traumas from childhood were triggered, there's loads of different things that are linked to this and reasons why, but we won't go into that today. So for example, like you can do a lot of these things without having ADHD, but if you do a lot of these things, then you might have it. But again, it, like I don't know. I'm in such two minds about like going to get tested. Like, sure, go get tested, like get an assessment. And if you that makes you feel better, awesome. But then it's also like, okay, well, do you like, are you getting tested so you want medication or are you getting tested just to be able to say you have ADHD? And why do you then need a label? Because I don't want people to label themselves, oh, I have ADHD. Like, you can still manage all of these symptoms. It's just that you don't have the tools to do so. So for example, like texting that guy even though you said you wouldn't, or sending an email even though 1 minute ago you said it wasn't a good idea, impulse buying things online that are on sale even though you don't actually need them, randomly zoning out in conversations, being obsessed with food 1 minute and like hating it the next. Forgetting to eat until you're shaky, irritable, and inhaling everything at sight. So this is very ADHD, forgetting to eat all day and then coming home at night and just going, wah, eating everything. Hyperfixating on one food and eating it every day until one day you suddenly can't stand it. And like with people as well. Hyperfixating on one friend or one girl or guy, like a romantic relationship, loving them, like being so obsessed with them. And then one day you're like, nah, have the ick. No, go away. I don't like you anymore because you found another hyperfixation. Getting so overwhelmed by food decisions that you don't eat all day. For like, hello, decision paralysis. Like, this is very, very common as well. Impulse eating whatever is easiest, even if you're not even hungry, like just randomly snacking at things. Craving constant dopamine hits from sugar, caffeine, or snacks because your brain is always seeking that stimulation. Going from food is life to eating is a chore in a matter of hours, so you're constantly changing your mind about things. Disassociating while eating and barely remember what you just had. Forgetting to eat all day because your body's is in full survival mode. Like so many of these things I see with the girls that I work with, and I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, but it is your responsibility to manage this so that you can be the best version of yourself for you, but also for the people around you, because it's very, very hard to be around someone who is constantly changing their mind, who is like super happy one day and super sad the next, who is super impulsive and just does random things and just goes, oh shit, like I can't believe I just did that. And it's very frustrating to be around someone who's like does all these things and then just go, oh, it's just my ADHD. Like you need to also take accountability for these things happening or for you doing all of these things, because you can manage them. It's like you can manage if you have if you a torn ACL or whatever, like you can still manage it and you can do your best to work around it. And the same thing goes with ADHD. Like you can still manage it. You just need to understand what is going on and how you like what tools you need to be able to do these things. Like so many of the women that I work with, they come to me and they're very like, I have ADHD, I'm gonna get tested, like I'm so overwhelmed all the time, I can't make any decisions and I just want to like hide under the covers, and then all of a sudden I just binge eat. And when we're working throughout the program, we work on regulating their nervous system, understanding, their brains and why they work the way they do, teaching them how to regulate themselves and self-soothe so that they don't constantly go and look for all these kicks. But like this is so important if you want to be able to live a lot more balanced life. Like ADHD can be so amazing because it does give you that superpower of being able to hyperfixate on something and like learn everything about it in a very short amount of time. But it's also not great because it's not very nice, right? Like if you are fixating on one person one day and then you're dropping them the next, or you you might enroll in like a course one day and then a couple of weeks later you're like, I hate it and I'm not going to do it anymore. Like having all of these half finished projects can be a bit frustrating and also a bit expensive for the wallet. And it's like, or like interrupting in conversations and stuff like that. Like it's not very nice for other people. And we do also have a responsibility for how we treat others, because it's not really nice. Like it's not a nice feeling being constantly interrupted, or feeling like you can't rely on your friend, or feeling like your friend is just blaming their ADHD. But anyway, this isn't just a quirky behavior. This is your brain's way of coping. So again, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you have a different way that your brain runs, and your nervous system has gotten a little bit stuck in one of those survival states. So to understand ADHD, you need to understand dopamine. So the brain constantly seeks balance. Pleasure and pain exists kind of like on a seesaw. And the more pleasure we get, the more pain we are going to need to level that out. Because our brains always want to feel level. Like our brains don't want to be on the too much of the pleasure side, and they also don't want to be too much on the pain side. So if we repeatedly flood our brain with dopamine, so dopamine, for those of you who don't know, is a neurotransmitter that gets released from the brain when we are achieving things, when we are ticking off goals, thinking of ticking off goals, when we're eating certain foods, when we're having sex, like basically everything that makes you feel good releases dopamine. And so when we are constantly looking for artificial dopamine, so for example, from social media, our brain stops releasing dopamine in a natural way. So this is like one of the reasons why ADHD is so common now, is because kids are just on their phones and scrolling all day long, and the brains then stops the natural production of dopamine. So of course you're going to have a lower level of dopamine in your brain, and you're going to have to look for more ways to get that dopamine so that you can feel quote unquote normal. But what you actually need to do is you need to remove all the artificial dopamine and allow your brain to start producing dopamine from a natural way instead. Because overconsumption leads to addiction-like cycles. Like you create that loop of pain pleasure as your brain is constantly trying to balance your dopamine out. So just imagine that you're having a low moment of, maybe you're feeling sad, maybe you're feeling like you're not good enough, maybe you stepped on the scales this morning and they were up, or you're feeling a bit lonely, or that guy that you like didn't text you back, and you're like, oh, I feel so shit right now. Oh, fuck, I'm just going to eat. That makes you feel better in the moment, right? And you get a massive hit of dopamine. So that pleasure goes up. But what happens then in your brain is like, oh no, we can't have this. We need to balance this out. So what is it going to do? It's going to increase the pain. And the pain is the guilt, the shame, the anxiety, like those uncomfortable emotions. That this is your brain's way of trying to level this out. And with those intense feelings, obviously you're going to get the intense thoughts as well of, I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm a failure, I can't do this. And what do you do? Well, you look for something else to give you a dopamine hit, because then it's not leveled again. It's too much on the other side. So what you need to do is you need to understand how to kind of manage that so it doesn't go back and forth in a massive highs and lows, but more so tips a little bit up and a little bit down constantly throughout the day. So your brain probably feels like a web browser with 57 tabs open. Like I know sometimes it feels like you have, like sometimes I feel like I have I'm standing in the middle and there's these lockers all around me, and there's all of these drawers are open, and I shut one and then another one opens up, and I shut another one and another one opens up. And that's normal. That's very normal. And it feels like you just have so many tabs open, and you just always thinking of something and always something to do. So why you start 100 things but struggle to finish them is because your brain naturally has a lower level of baseline of dopamine. So from childhood, for some reason your brain didn't start producing as much dopamine as it were meant to be doing. It could be loads of different reasons for this. It could be social media, it could be trauma, it could be like for example, having like a dad who was never home and he was always away, leaving you to constantly be stressing and worrying about that, and then having to chase dopamine in the other ways to avoid those uncomfortable feelings of not feeling good enough. Like there's so many layers to this. It's not as easy as, oh, that's why you have ADHD. Like there's so many things that you need to explore with yourself. But when your brain naturally has a lower level of dopamine, when you then think of starting these little tasks, it does give you that release. So like, when you come home, you're like, oh, I'm gonna clean the kitchen today, and then I'm gonna fold the laundry, and I'm gonna look for a new apartment, and I'm gonna sign up to a new gym, and I'm gonna sign up to that coach. And then you start one thing and you're like, oh no, this is too overwhelming. So you just don't do anything. Or you lay down in bed and you start doing something that was not on your list at all. So, for example, something I see all the time is people have all these things that they need to do, but instead of ticking off their list, they're like, no, you know what? I'm gonna do the dishes, because it's easier, and you still need that dopamine hit. So you just go for something completely different and you just disassociate. You are not lazy. You just need to learn to manage your dopamine and impulse control. So you need to learn what to do in these situations, because when you go into these situations, that means that your nervous system is dysregulated and is creating that frozenness in your body where you feel like, I can't do anything, I'm overwhelmed. And then to get out of there, it kind of steers you in a direction towards something else. So let's talk about the cycle of burnout and overwhelm, because this is something that I see so much with women with ADHD, and especially the high achievers, because you might start a business, you might create a project, and you're so excited about it, and you're like super, super motivated, and you have that hyperfixation. And this is where the hyperfixation is amazing, right? Like you just go, 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 go. Awesome. So you go from that hyperfixation, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, I'm completely exhausted. And you, on the way, you missed out on all of those little red flags. Like you missed out on the warning signs that you are actually tired, because you kept convincing yourself that, no, it's not that bad, I can keep doing it. And you're looking for more and more dopamine until you reach that point of complete exhaustion. So, for example, you might go from loving your meal plan and being obsessed with it and taking off all the goals and getting super like great results, and then be like, oh no, I hate it now. Well, you love planning things, but you struggle to follow through. So you have all these lists and all of these things saved on your phone that you're gonna do, but then actually doing them never actually happens. You might fidget and eat and drink, shop, scroll, and get a release from your overwhelm and stimulation, but you can't actually sit still and just watch TV. Like when you're watching TV, you're on your phone, or you are fidgeting, or you're biting your nails, or you're eating something, or you have to do something. You can't just be still. And it's not that you're failing, your brain just needs a different strategy, because this overwhelm and burnout is not a nice feeling, and it's also not something that you should be living with. Like this is not meant to be your life. So let's then talk about the ADHD and food connection, which is probably why most of you are here today. So, you probably lack impulse control, and like with ADHD, you are going to struggle with that because it's something that you probably never really practiced. And impulse control is like a muscle, like growing your glutes. If you never use it, it's not going to grow. So what you need to learn is how to practice impulse control, because that lack of impulse control, plus the lack of dopamine, plus the stress that you're experiencing in your life because you're pushing down all the emotions that you want to feel, because people have probably told you your whole life that you're too needy and too much. This means you'll reach for food, and you get a lot of cravings. You're gonna get obsessed with food. You have a lot of food noise. So tracking and strict meal plans are not going to work for ADHD brains long term, because yeah, sure, it might be really fun for you and you might really enjoy it whilst you're tracking and whilst you are on the plan at the start when you're on the plan. But as soon as you get bored with it and as soon as you come off it, you're going to go back to what your behavior before. And you might even put more weight on, and you might resent it even more and feel more overwhelmed than ever before, because the tracking was just another new hyperfixation. It wasn't actually something that you like, it was something that was giving you so much dopamine that it became an obsession. So there's nothing wrong with tracking, but for someone with ADHD, it might not be the best way to like get the results that you want, because you're constantly just looking for new hits of dopamine. So we need to look for something that gives us more like smaller doses of dopamine, but long term, so that you're not constantly going between that back and forth and the highs and the low. So yeah, like I said, tracking might feel fun and exciting at first, but once you get bored with it, you end up resenting it. And this is when that shame and overwhelm comes in again, and you're going to start binge eating again. So nervous system overload means that you'll reach for food, you'll scroll, you'll avoid. And what nervous system overload really is when we are getting stuck in that survival state. So ADHD means that, like, it's a nervous system stuck in survival state. That's just how it is. And if you don't learn to regulate, you'll keep acting on autopilot forever. So if we don't, like, the way I look at the nervous system is like a ladder. So we have like a ladder. At the top, we have the regulations, the regulated state where you're able to process information, you make conscious decisions, and you can, choose to do the things that you know are good for you. That's where we want to spend most of our days, but most people don't. Below, we have the fight or flight, like I know most people probably know about. In fight or flight is a doing state. This is where your body still thinks that it can do something about the danger. So this is where a lot of women with ADHD get stuck, always doing things, like the high achievers, never feeling like they're enough, always doing more, can't sit still, always fidgeting, doing 50 million things at once. That's fight or flight. Below fight or flight, we have the freeze state, which is another state where you ADHDers get very stuck. This is a state of overwhelm. Like if you think of a freeze state, like the freeze state is basically like a deer running out on the road and then stopping in front of your car. And it's like the deer knows it needs to run, but it just cannot move. That's what happens in your nervous system. So your body basically thinks that the stress is really bad, but it's so bad, it's too bad to do something, but it's still not bad enough to just lay down and pretend like you're dead. So it's like, I have so much energy in the body right now, but I just cannot get it moving. So this is what happens. It's like, I have to, but I can't. I have to, but I can't. So you get stuck there. And on the bottom of the ladder, we have the fawn stage where we get depressed, disassociate, kind of, this is where people who have a lot of trauma, they tend to go into this state because they learn at a very early age to disassociate and just like kind of float above the class and just like not be in their bodies at all, and not feel anything, like complete numbness. So to regulate from the different states, you need to first understand, oh, I'm in fight or flight, or oh, I'm in freeze, oh, I'm in fawn. How do I then regulate? And you need to learn to regulate throughout the ladder. So you can't just jump over. You have to understand, what do I need to do right now for my nervous system to get into that regulated state? So like you might listen to this and be like, well, there's nothing to run from. Like, there's no life-threatening danger. But the nervous system hasn't changed at all since, basically since we were put on this earth. But our surroundings have changed a lot, right? So when we get really stressed, our bodies are like, danger, danger. And our bodies don't know the difference between you getting an angry email from your boss, or that guy not texting you back, or you putting weight on like that morning, versus you getting chased by an animal. Like, it just sees stress. Okay, this human is stressed, there's fear. Okay, we need to fix this. We need to go into our survival state, basically put our armor on and get ready for that fight, or to run, or to freeze, or to lay down and play dead. So this is how your body works. It's actually just trying to protect you. So this is something that everyone says to me, I know what to do, but why can't I just do it? Like, you can probably really easily stick to your training, but you're just not sticking to your diet. Maybe you're a fitness girl, but you feel like an imposter because you are saying that you should do all these things, but you're not actually doing it yourself. You're not overweight, but you just can't stop losing and gaining the same kilos. And it's so frustrating because you're putting in all this work and you're not seeing results. Trying harder is not going to work for you. What you actually need is to change your actions from the bottom-up approach. So what I mean by that is we need to look at the body first, because how many times have you not tried to willpower your way out of this? Like, how many times have you not told yourself, just calm down, do it differently next time, or just don't eat it, I just need more willpower, I just need more restrictions, I just need to write it down and then I'll be fine. It's not going to work. What we need to do is we need to look at the body, because the state of your body, so if your body is in a fight or flight state, for example, your brain is going to create stories of why you need to stay stuck there. So it's going to create stories of, you need to try harder, you need to do more, you need to be more strict, to do. And it's not going to change that until the body feels like it's safe and it's in that regulated state again. This is when we can start changing the story that we create in our minds. So the reason why our bodies go into this dysregulated state is because we have this little part of our brain called the amygdala. This is the fear center of the brain. This is like a fire alarm in the brain. And when the brain recognizes danger, it goes off and it puts you in survival state, and it hijacks your prefrontal cortex, so the part of the brain responsible for making those conscious decisions, and it takes over to get on autopilot. It changes the story in your mind, and this is why you binge, because you just go on autopilot, you get that dysregulation, and it is literally like a hijack of your brain. So what you need to do is you need to understand, how can I actually change that by understanding my body, and then also understanding how to change the story in my mind. So I want you to imagine this: waking up and not stressing about food. Actually finishing the task that you set out for yourself. You know, that list that you have in the back of your drawer, we can take that off and make sure it's actually finished. Feeling in control instead of feeling overwhelmed. Being able to sleep when your head hits the pillow and not lay awake at night thinking about all the things you did or said that day, or to have to do the next day. Having the tools to reduce and manage your anxiety and not just let it spiral you. Stop overthinking every decision and actually feel confident that you made the right choice. This isn't just a dream. This is what happens when you work with your brain and not against it. You need to understand how your brain works, how your body works. This is the only way you're going to be able to manage your ADHD, unless you take medication. And, you know, if you want to do that, that's cool. But I still think these tools are so important. And I wish that we were taught this in school, instead of teachers just telling people to shut down or shut up, and to, like, they're so annoying and noisy and whatever, like, or too much and you're too needy and too that. Because if you actually learned these tools in school, then you probably wouldn't struggle with binge eating now. You probably would know how to self-soothe. You probably would know how to regulate your nervous system. You probably would understand why your brain is a little bit different to other people's, and how that actually is a superpower, because you are so sensitive to other people's emotions. You are so sensitive and connected to your own emotions. But it's just that your whole life you've been told that you're too much and too needy. So of course you kind of learn to shut down that part of yourself. So what I want you to do is I want you to understand how you can open that back up, so that that little girl feels safe, and that you can actually get the results that you want for yourself, so that you can have your dream body, you can get results in the gym, you can get your dream job, you can attract your dream clients if you're a coach, you can feel calm and regulated and not constantly feel stuck in that overwhelm. So your ADHD friendly path to food freedom and focus. You need structure that doesn't feel like punishment. Simple weekly task that takes less than 1 minute to complete. So everything on my program is very much done for the ADHD woman, because I want you to feel like, oh, this is easy. Like, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. This daily task to daily access to me to talk you through struggles via text. So you message me at any time, WhatsApp. I will be able to respond to you within 24 hours. I don't believe in the once a week check-ins. This is a very, very personalized program, and I want you to feel like you have support. Like, I'm not here to fuck around. I'm here to get you quick results. Like, I am very much a quick results girl myself, and I get bored if I don't see changes. So that's what I want for you as well. I don't want you to be on this program and be like, oh, nothing's happening. Like, you are going to see results from day one. And I literally had 3 girls message me this morning that signed up last week, and they're like, what the fuck? Like, how have I already stopped binge eating? Like, this has not happened in 2 years. So if they can do it, you can do it as well. We'll also do one-on-one calls to go a bit deeper and create a personal strategy just for you. But we do also have group calls every week to help you feel less alone and connect women just like yourself. You'll have access to the Education Hub, which has over 40 videos that you can listen to as a podcast on your hot girl walks. You don't have to sit at a laptop. You don't need to sit with a notepad. They're 10 to 20 minutes long. They're super easy. There's workbooks as well, but it's super, super easy to listen to, because I don't want you to spend an hour and a half watching videos every week. Like, I want you to take 10 minutes, listen, implement, boom, go. See results right away. I'm very results-driven person, and I want you to feel like you are getting the most out of your day. So if this is something that you do want to work on, let me know. Send me a message, because my promise to you is that you're going to take back control of your life and start using your ADHD as a superpower that it actually is. So if you have any questions about anything, please don't hesitate to message me. You can book in a free call with me. Just message me on Instagram. I will send you the link to book it in, or you can just go to the link in my bio. There's information about the program. You can book in a call there and apply. I'm only taking on 2 clients this week, so make sure that you are getting in quickly if you are interested in this. And yeah, let's jump on and chat about how we can manage your ADHD to stop binge eating, or maybe you're not even binge eating. Maybe you're just mindlessly snacking and overeating, and you're sick of being stuck in this cycle of doing the same thing over and over again and nothing actually ever changing. So let's get to work and let's change your life for good. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening, guys, and I hope you have beautiful rest of your day. Next week, I have a guest on, which I'm really excited about, but it'll be a surprise of who that is. Okay, don't forget to subscribe and post this episode on your stories if you enjoyed it. Love you. Bye.